Chris, I guess with you all and UT, it starts a very tough week for you all, two ranked teams. I guess from what Texas has shown over the last 6 games, what have you seen from them that's made them so successful this year compared to last year?
Well, first of all, with our week, I see it as a great opportunity. It's why you sign on to play at this level and why you sign on to coach at this level or weeks like this. Just a great opportunity, chance to compete against two of the best teams in college basketball. So, great thing about the Big 12 is you've got several of these weeks, during your season as well. So we look at it as a great week of opportunity, to play against two opponents we got a lot of respect for. And the first game, against Texas, I'm not in their locker room every day. I certainly no expert, but from my perspective, from the outside looking in, watching their games, studying the way they played, I would tell you that it appears that they've got a great chemistry to this year's team. How that happened, I'm not sure. Like, it's been a challenging year for all of us. I know in a lot of ways our locker room is as tight as it's ever been because of the adversity these guys have gone through, whether it be the COVID-19, whether it be the just the embarrassing, ridiculous reality of the racial situation in our country. Just a lot of the adversity that we've gone through as a team and these players have gone through together, it causes some teams to really come together. I don't know if that's true in Austin or not, but I know it looks like their team is as connected as any team in the Big 12 right now. I think also they've got some guys that have left their program, two guys that I think were probably kind of in the rotation as they put their team together this fall, chose to transfer. So sometimes as a team gets smaller number-wise, the chemistry can strengthen as well. Basketball-wise, it's really simple to answer that question. They're just playing really well. It's one of the best defenses in college basketball because of their length and their athleticism. And those three guards play really hard. I mean, there's a lot of pride with Jones, who's from my hometown of Irving, somebody I've always pulled for, and Coleman, who's been in the league a long time. You guys know how I feel about him. And Ramey, again, is one of the best guards in the Big 12. So those three guys kind of start the defense. Then they've got the length and athleticism behind them. So it's just a great defense. Offensively, it's just a lot of talent. Shaka and those guys have done a great job kind of spacing out that talent and giving that talent some identity offensively. So, again, it appears to me to be a team that's really connected, and no one has ever questioned Texas's talent. It's no different this year than any other year.
You alluded to it already, but those three guards, they seem to be the the deal that kind of makes them go. I guess what have you seen from them? I know you've already spoken about Ramey, Coleman, and Jones, but just what have those three kind of meant to that team so far, especially where you have kind of alluded to in previous press conferences where it seems like the four guard lineup's kind of doing or kind of that next step here in the Big 12. I guess how have you kind of seen those three guards really step up and help Texas so far?
I like the haircut, Carl.
I appreciate it.
Solid, man. It looks like almost like a new style.
I got called out, so I figure I might as well cut it, right?
Yeah, not bad, man. You look younger.
I appreciate it.
Those three guards are special. I mean, first of all, they're good players. They could play anywhere in the country. They're three BCS, Big 12, kind of all-conference neighborhood guys. They're good players. They're quick. They're athletic. They play on both ends of the floor. There's a swagger and a confidence about them. They can all shoot the three. They're just good players. What makes them unique, as you talk about in college basketball, these guys playing together for so long. I mean, they returned their whole team from last year. Returning players got better, and then obviously with Greg Brown adding a key piece, So, I think it'd kind of be like us if we were still sitting here playing with Moretti and Mooney. We would have kind of an advantage too. So, three really good players. Then you put the experience of playing on top of that together for so long. They've been through a lot, as a team. So I would agree. To me, they're the kind of identity of the team. You got first-round draft choices that are long and athletic and some obvious talents. But to me, those three guards are Texas basketball.
Last one from me. You've already alluded to the guards, but how big is rebounding going to be in this contest? Because I know you talk about winning that rebounding battle, but Greg Brown, a guy who you spoke about, one of the keys there that kind of really gets things started once he does get a rebound.
Yeah, rebounding is the key to any Big 12 game, no doubt about it. Each game's a little different. This one is so challenging because they're as athletic and as long as anybody in college basketball, and they've got some guys that have really identified that. I can't speak for those guys, but it appears to me that Greg Brown has kind of made rebounding his identity. He's averaging double-figure rebounds. He triggers their fast break when he gets the defensive rebound. Then offensively, he just doesn't take possessions off. I mean, he crashes. So this is another Big 12 game where it always starts with rebounding. But this game is as challenging as any just because of the talent involved. I mean, it's not going to be just a normal kind of block, hey, go block that guy out. It's not that simple. Like, there's some things that you've got to do in this game, whether it be a double block out, a face block out, a stay connected block out. They've got some guys that can play above the rim, so that's always challenging. So I think Texas does a great job rebounding, and we're going to have to compete in that part of the game to have a chance to win the game.
Let's go to Joe.
Coach, in your experience, is it usually the case that basketball teams at some point in the season are going to have sort of a turning point where they suddenly gel and just kind of come together? Or is it more usually the case that they just gradually improve over time? Or is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think both. As a coach, you always kind of look back when it's all over and you look at different crossroads you were in. It's always rewarding when you see the crossroad where your team, took the right turn, the correct turn, got better. Unfortunately, you see some other opportunities where, man, that's where it got away from us. I think the common characteristic of all championship teams are they continue to get better. I don't think there's ever been a championship team that doesn't gradually get better over the course of the year. They're not handing out the trophy right now. I mean, in college basketball right now, I don't follow it as closely as you guys do in terms of all the hype and stuff. I watch the games, normally turn the volume off, but it's accurate to say that probably Gonzaga and Baylor and Texas, some of these schools are kind of on a different level right now. But again, they're not handing out the trophy in January. A lot of basketball to be left. You think back of our championship team, I think we were 5-4 at one point, and we won 9 straight to eventually get on a roll all the way to Monday night. So our deal is just to try to continue to get better each day in practice and games, halves, possessions, each individual player to get better. From time to time, if you see it go the other way, hey, what's the deal with our offensive rebounding right now? We're going the wrong way. Then you gotta get some things fixed. So it's the ever revolving just kind of evaluation process of each player and each team. Are we heading in the right direction?
Okay, and Marcus Santos Silva looks to me like he is playing just a little bit better every game out. Could you talk a little bit about his progress up to this point?
Yeah, I think Marcus is one of the best players in college basketball. He's a unique guy. You can't really, put him in a certain category because there's not a lot of players like him. He's as big and as strong and as physical as anybody in the game. You saw him last game kind of banging around with Solomon Young down there and holding his own. That's how strong Marcus is. He shaped his body up a little bit since getting to Texas Tech to be a better conditioned player. He's also very skilled. I mean, you guys know that we play with him facing the basket just as much as back to the basket. He's a great passer. He's working really hard on his free throw shooting. That's going in the right direction. I think that will eventually relate to him being able to hit jump shots, and I think that's going to happen sooner than later. I mean, he's a player that I have a lot of confidence in. If he's open from 15, 16 feet away, that's a shot that Marcus can take and make. So he's just a unique player. Defensively, he can guard different positions. You see him getting the steals against the Iowa State guards last game out. I mean, he's a unique guy. I think he is getting better, as are all other great players around the country. You try to get better from week to week and game to game, and Marcus is a big part of what we're doing here. We've got 3 Big 12 wins, and in sections of all 3 of those games, he was the best player on the floor.
All right, Ryan King.
Hey, Coach, 6th year of Shaka Smart as the head coach of the Longhorns there. Where have you seen the most growth with him within that program to get to where they are this year?
Yeah, I'm no expert to talk about Shaka's time there. I can tell you this year's team, again, is very, very good defensively. like elite. They're hard to score against. Those three guards play extremely hard, and they're defensive players. Brock Cunningham comes off the bench as a specialist that can really impact the game. You know, if Brock has a twin brother or cousin that's looking for a place to play, 806, 742, 7600 is the office. He plays defense, plays the game the right way, and then they've got the length and athleticism at those other spots that just do things defensively that most people can't do. So they're a defensive team. Offensively, they just have a lot of chemistry right now. Guys are playing roles, and they've got a nice system set up, playing a lot of 5-out this year and can play different ways. So, I'm not qualified to talk about anything other than what I see with my own eyes. But this year's team has a chemistry, a defense, and an offense, which they're worthy of their top 5 ranking right now. I do think they're one of the top 5 teams in college basketball today, the way they're playing right now.
And you've touched on a few of those things. Defense, a few guys transferred out. In what ways do you see similarities between your team and this team, before they match up, if you see them?
Similarities, we're both in the great state of Texas. We're both close to good Tex-Mex, Mexican food. We both are playing in the Big 12 conference. Both head coaches have made changes to their appearance this year. Shaka rocking the hair, which I kind of like, and trying to hang on to this beard. I think we both try to play defense. We both try to make our shots. There's probably a lot of similarities. Good question. I've never really thought about that.
Last one for me. I know you mentioned that you needed a lot of big individual performances, getting a win like that at Iowa State. How much are you going to pull back on that? You mentioned 2-0, winning at Oklahoma, winning at Iowa State, to now go to a road Big 12 top 5 matchup. How much is going to be pulled from those games?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, you always study your success and try to duplicate it, and then you try to learn from your non-success and try to prevent it or fix it. So, we've gotten off to a great start on the road in the Big 12, and we're not apologizing for it. We're happy to have 2 road wins. These things are so hard to get. So this will be the next game. We really try to put ourselves in a position here where we kind of live where our feet are. It's a 40-minute game in Austin against one of the best teams in the country, and that's really where our focus goes. We don't spend a lot of time looking back, but we will study it a little bit, and we certainly don't spend any time looking forward. You just can't at this level. So this is a 40-minute game on the road against a really good team. We'll have to play well. You mentioned the individual part of the game. Absolutely. I don't think Texas is going to win another game this year if all 3 of those guards don't show up to play. The best players have to play, and I don't think Texas Tech's going to have success unless, different things happen. Kevin McCullough and TJ and Kyler is our 3 returning guys, and Avery. Those guys have to play well for us to win. Our new players like, Mac and Marcus and JB have to show up. Our freshmen have to contribute. And there's a real individual part of this game. It kind of goes without saying, but it's true. Our Texas Tech team, if we can get 5 or 6 guys to show up and play their best, then I don't think we'll lose.
Okay, we'll finish up with Ronald.
Sort of a 2-part question, Coach, but what's been sort of your message, going into this one, and also what do you sort of want to see out of your team, prior to the game? In what ways do they sort of rally together, to get up for matchups like this?
Yeah, we're just getting started on this game today. We've had an early morning session, and we'll practice this afternoon. But the message is consistent. It's, hey, this is the next game on the schedule. It's a great opportunity. We're going to have to play really well. I would say that we have to play our best 40 minutes of the season to this point to have a chance to be successful in this game in terms of winning the game. Message for the team is, the more aggressive team is going to have an advantage. If both teams play with an aggressiveness, which normally happens in a Big 12 game, then victory is going to favor the team with the fewest mistakes. Mistakes for us, we always start with transition defense and turnovers and block out and shot selection. So the message will stay the same. It's the next game on the schedule. It's against a team that's one of the best in the country. to me, it's a great opportunity. You know, as a competitor, you wake up and you're either thinking, oh man, those guys are good, or you're thinking, oh man, what an opportunity. And I know the best players in our locker room feel that way. You know, there's no doubt about it. Like I've told you guys before, you know, growing up, we'd play at Northwest Park and Conflans Park. And, you know, the days where you walked out there and the best players in Irving weren't there, those were the days that you just, you know, you're glad to be playing, but those weren't the days you remembered. The days where you walked up and the parking lot was full and the best players were there and you had to wait 4 or 5 games to play. Can they still hear me?
Yes.
You know, those are the ones you remembered. So as a competitor, like, you know, these are the ones. You get to play on the road in a Big 12 game against a top 5 ranked team. Like, you know, bring it on. Let's go. This is what it's all about. I mean, it's, you know, we understand it's going to be really difficult to win down there, but anything in the Big 12 is difficult. I mean, show me something easy in this league, and it'll be something that I've never seen. So, you know, to answer your question, it's just a mindset. Like, it's an opportunity. This is why you play and coach at this level. Like, I'm excited. Like, there's nowhere I'd rather be on Wednesday night than at this game.